What is next for the markets according to the InvestingCube support and resistance indicator? That's what we're going to talk about in this short video. We're going to talk about the strength of the dollar and how that's impacting cryptocurrencies and how that may also impact indices, and see if we could have a continuation of these trends or not. Before we start, as always, I need to stress that trading financial markets, unfortunately, is high risk and we may lose all of our invested money. So the support and resistance indicator is this dashboard that gives us an outlook for the market. But what we're doing right now is that we're actually going to take a look at TradingView charts to make better sense of what may happen next. So up until recently, from July 14th to be exact, the euro dollar was in an uptrend. In other words, the dollar was weakening, and this is of course supportive for things like cryptocurrencies. It's also supportive for risk on, I would say, because a stronger dollar is pricing in a more hawkish Federal Reserve. And sometimes as well, when we have a risk-off scenario, when people pricing in recession, you tend to have the dollar strengthening as well. So that seems to have come into play now as the Fed remains hawkish. The euro was on its way up, but yesterday evening, the price traded below the lows here from July 27th, and now we're dealing with a downtrend. And GBP USD, we also broke below support, and the support resistance indicator told us that we could sell on the break to this level for this to head down lower. And the way it looks right now, we may actually continue. You're looking here at an inverse head and shoulders, and we have the failed inverse head and shoulders pattern. And that happens when the price trades below the right shoulder, as you see here. So if the breakup point is roughly here, it says we can go down to roughly 114. I'm not sure we're going to go all the way down there, but if we trade below the lows from July 14th, then that would make a lot of sense. So I would definitely focus on something like the GBP USD with the help of the support and resistance indicator. Starting from today, Bitcoin has also joined into this sell-off, and Bitcoin ended its short-term uptrend as we traded below 22,400. The indicator successfully has been telling us to buy over the last couple of weeks and has some really good setups across the board, really. But Bitcoin wasn't able to withstand the pressure of the USD and traded below support. Now, this is the tricky part because it's still August. I don't think a lot of people are back at their desks. So I would actually give Bitcoin a couple of days to see if we could maybe stabilize and push a little bit higher. Because it might just be that we're going to have something like this. So I would give this a bit of time. Now, of course, macro fundamentals and what's happening in currency markets are actually telling us that we'll see this. But it's a little bit too early for the support resistance indicator to take a decision on this right now. We've seen as well, significant sell-offs, things like ADA. The indicator nailed a couple of these dips here for the push to the upside. As well with Dogecoin, it nailed them really well, had a very nice push, some really good risk-reward ratios, but the market, just tumbled lower here. What about indices then? So in stock market indices, the indicator has well done really good and captured several of these dips. Here you're looking at the Nasdaq 100. Now, if you look here, the Nasdaq 100 remains bullish. If you look here as well, this is the Dow Jones is bullish, S&P is bullish, and the German DAX, the indicator gives a signal. But it's a bit tricky here because if the Nasdaq 100, the Dow Jones, and the S&P trade lower, then it's very likely that you'll have the German DAX being stopped out. So we'll see now if that joins in. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, unfortunately. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if this corrective phase you see here in the Nasdaq 100 is going to look very similar to this situation here. So what if that actually happens? What would I be focusing on at that point? Well, as I mentioned in the beginning, you have currency pairs that are bearish, and that's where I would keep my focus on. So you have, for example, GBP USD and also the Euro USD, where the market is just waiting for a corrective bounce and then to sell off. And then realistically, if things indeed go lower in the indices, then Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar is also going to join. So that's what I would be looking at. And then we'll see, what happens in 2 weeks from now. Should we be selling some more cryptos? Well, that could be the case. So make it easy for you guys. Just sort of change in the settings here. You can see the type of ideas. For now, as you can see, it's effectively neutral across the board here for pretty much everything. So that's really the outlook now. If you want to know more about the support and resistance indicator, just hit here SR levels and sign up. Thanks so much and have a great weekend.